Hello students, welcome to class. In our last class we discussed what credit is and types of credit and the advantages and disadvantages. However, in this class we'll be moving further to functions of credit. Our objective for this class is to look at 1. The functions of credit and also know the credit instrument or the types of credit instruments. Now to the functions of credit. It is important to note that credit is neither capital nor does it create capital. The credit instrument only represents money and it facilitates business activities. Some of the importance of credit is 1. Credit facilitates large-scale production. Developing countries like Nigeria faces capital shortage. Our production resources are limited, so credit instruments are provided the money to the industrialists. Now production is in large scale and cost per unit has dropped. The quantity and quality of the product have been improved as a result of credit facilities. The next we have is increase in saving rates. Credit provides an opportunity to save money. Some people have money but they are not capable to do any business, so they lend this money to financial institutions, and in turn these financial institutions lend money to the people who are in need of using this money for production activities. The next we have is shifting of capital to productive purposes. Stated earlier, there are so many people who have surplus money but they are not able to do any business, so they lend this money to financial institutions. Thus, credit makes possible the shifting of money to those people who can use it for productivity. Next, we have provision of working capital. Sometimes, an industrialist may face financial problems to purchase raw materials or other resources for his business, so he avails himself with credit facilities to continue his business. Next is sales of bonds. Sometimes a firm can obtain credit by selling the bonds. If the firm's prospects are bright, it will repay the principal amount with interest. And next we have case of young firm. Credit enables the managers of a young firm to develop its resources at a rapid rate. Next we have emergence of new businessmen. Credit makes possible the entrance of new talent into the business sector. If a person has all the qualities of a good entrepreneur but does not have capital, credit provides him the chance to utilize his qualities. Number 8, we have purchase of goods. Credit enables the consumer to purchase the consumption goods like TV, radio, television, etc. And next we have international payment. Through the bills of exchange, international payments can be made very easily. In this case, there is no need to import or export gold or cash for the international business transaction. And lastly, we have useful for the states. The government budget is deficit. That is, the government expenditure is more than its budgeted revenue. The government can meet or pad this budget deficit by selling bonds and receiving the credit. Even in cases of emergency like war, famine, etc., credit is also very beneficial for the states. Now let's take a look at credit instrument or instrument of credit. The first one we have is the promissory note. The simplest form of a credit instrument is a promissory note. A promissory note is a written promise from a buyer or a borrower to pay a certain sum of money to the creditor or his order. It is what we call IOU, that is IOU. It is an acknowledgement of debt and an obligation to repay. This is a sample of a promissory note. It's a written year promissory note written on 1st June 1985. Now, the promise is 2 months after the date, that is June 1st, 1985, I promise to pay Miss Singh and Company or order, that is anybody the company's orders, the sum of 500 rupees only for value received with interest at the interest rate of 5%. It was written by Siam La. Now, this is a sample of promissory note. The next we have is bill of exchange. A bill of exchange is used in internal as well as foreign trade. It is an order by a seller to a buyer or by a creditor to a debtor to pay a certain sum of money to himself or to the bearer or to another person named in the bill of exchange. Now, this is a sample of an internal or an inland bill of exchange. It shows it is written on the 1st of July 1985. It says, 30 days after date, pay to Miss Singh and Co. or bearer the sum of 20,000 rupees for value received. So this was issued by the seller to the creditor. Other forms of credit instrument are bank draft. A bank draft is a check drawn by a bank on its own branch or on another bank, requiring the latter, that is, the bank's branch or another bank, to pay a specific amount to the person named in the check. Bank drafts can also be known as banker's draft. It is a type of financial instrument used similarly to a check to make payment or transfer money, but it is drawn on funds already taken from the payer's account and held by the bank. So it is seen as more certain of being honored than a personal check. The next one is debenture or bonds. A corporate bond or a debenture is a credit instrument in which the issuer obtains cash from the initial investors at origination of the business and in return agrees to make payment of interest and at maturity of principal to the holders of the securities. A debenture can also be known as a certificate that shows or certifies an amount of money owed to someone. It is also known as a certificate of indebtedness. Next, we have mortgage agreement. Mortgage is the transfer of an interest in a specific immovable property, usually a house or a building, for the purpose of securing the payment of money advanced by way of loan. Alright, the next credit facility we're looking at is check. A check is an unconditional order drawn on a specific banker and is payable on demand. A check is also a draft directing a bank to pay money to a named person or entity. It is usually issued to current account holders. And next one is letter of credit. A letter of credit is a letter from a bank guaranteeing that a buyer's payment to a seller will be received on time and for the correct amount. In a financial letter of credit, the creditor guarantees the repayment of counterparty's obligation, and in return receives a one-time or periodic fee. And the last credit instrument we'll be looking at is credit card. Using a credit card to pay for a purchase creates a contract between the buyer and the seller. Essentially, the seller is extending credit to the buyer with the assumption that the company issuing the card will cover the payment for the purchase. In turn, the issuer of the credit card is anticipating that the cardholder will eventually pay off the amount of the debt along with applicable interest and financial charges.
And before we end this class, let's take a quick exercise. Question 1. Explain the need for credit. 2. Outline 5 functions of credit. Question 3. Credit makes possible the shifting of money to those people who can use it for A. Needs, B. Labor, C. Supply, and D. Productivity. Question 4. How does credit increase savings? And 5. Write short notes on the following. A. Promissory note, B. Check, and C. Letter of credit. Good luck.
Thank you for watching. Bye bye.